Good morning, everyone. My name is Jean Herb. I'm with the Blaustein School here at Rutgers, and we are just thrilled to have all of you here today. I'm joined today by my colleague Marjorie Kaplan, who is running around dealing with whatever the emergency of the minute is. We have almost 270 people coming today, and that is a terrific, terrific turnout. There's Marjorie. We have a very full day, a very full agenda. We are going to stay on time. It's going to be very fast-paced. You are going to get amazing information from folks both from within New Jersey and outside of New Jersey. We hope that we end the day with a lot of great energy and giving you the opportunity, particularly over lunch and at the networking session at the end, to give you an opportunity to get to know each other. There's a couple folks that we'd like to thank, and then we'll get started. In particular, we would very much like to thank so many of our sponsors, and you'll see in your conference packet there's a page with our sponsors. We're very grateful for the support. We would like to thank the members of our advisory committee who are tremendous and hands-on and give us the most candid insight that we take with great humor and with all seriousness. You can pick out the members of our advisory committee because they have a little red sticky dot on their name tags, so please say hello to them. Thank you also to Deans Hughes and Deans Goodman from the Blaustein School and the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, who have been tremendous supporters for us over the last 2 years as we've gotten the New Jersey Climate Adaptation Alliance off the ground. And thanks also to Drs. Michael Greenberg and Tony Broccoli, who will be speaking this morning, who have been our guardian angels. I'm to remind you that everything today is being videotaped. I am to remind you that you will be receiving evaluation forms by email after the conference, and we would really appreciate it if you could take time to fill those out as you get them. If you are signing up for continuing ed credits, either for AICP, American Planning Association, or for public health, you need to sign in at the front desk and sign a special form. And we encourage you to visit the exhibit tables that are in the corridor as you come in. There's some really great information up there from some of our sponsors and some of our partners, and we really encourage you to take a minute to go and look at some of those. With that, I will turn it over to my dean, Dean Hughes, who has been a tremendous support as we've pulled not just the conference off the ground, but also all the work that we're doing in terms of climate adaptation. So, Dean Hughes.
Thank you, Jean. Let me make a brief, broad observation before we begin, so please indulge me on this. Superstorm Sandy, officially post-tropical Cyclone Sandy, I really do believe now was a game changer in terms of the broader recognition of climate change. Yesterday, we conducted our annual Economic Policy Summit at the Blaustein School. And at this event, we released the results of our 8th C-Suite survey. This is a survey that we do several times a year of leading New Jersey CEOs on their opinions about the state's economy, business climate, and other policy issues. This year, we added Sandy-specific questions. So, good news is, surprisingly, overwhelming support for stronger restrictions and regulations on responsible development and/or rebuilding in climate-vulnerable areas. So, for the broad corporate and business community to actually support stronger government regulation is absolutely unprecedented. A totally complete surprise response. So that's the good news. Bad news is, tax not me, tax not thee, tax that fellow behind the tree. That's how CEOs want to pay for rebuilding and adapting to climate change. Income, sales, gas taxes on New Jerseyans overwhelmingly negative response. The least negative responses were special taxes that would be paid for by out-of-state visitors and by bond issues to be paid back by somebody in the future. So that's not a surprising set of responses. It's seemingly the New Jersey way. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I think Mike Greenberg, who will present his survey results from a different survey this morning, will confirm, I think, some of these basic findings. Truth in advertising. Gene Herb gave me the following presentation protocol for this morning. Be brief, be sincere, be gone. So, with a discipline I have not shown in many years, I will attempt to comply and proceed forthwith. So, I gave my welcome, and it is now my pleasure to introduce Ann Hoskins. Ann is Senior Vice President for Public Affairs and Sustainability at PSE&G. She currently serves as a visiting research scholar at Princeton University. She chairs our New Jersey Climate Change Adaptation Alliance and has provided tremendous leadership in getting the alliance off the ground. Ann?
Well, good morning, everyone. We are so thrilled that all of you are here. And really, before I get started, I really first want to thank Gene and Marjorie, who, Gene came up and thanked everybody else. But one of the most exciting and interesting things to me in this whole process has been to see how 2 dynamic women could pull such an interesting endeavor, important, critical endeavor together over the past year and a half with very little bureaucracy and really just sheer will and effort working with many of you. So I just want to give them a round of applause for everything they've done. So just a moment about the Alliance. I think most of you know because you're all here, but just briefly to go over it with you a little bit. We formed after a similar conference, a little smaller conference, about a year and a half ago. And I do have the honor of working for PSEG, and we were very involved in working with Gene and with many of you in the room to figure out what we could do, recognizing, and this was before any of the storms, recognizing that New Jersey is in a particularly vulnerable place, right? We know that we're along the shore. We know we have many older cities and areas where there's need for infrastructure development. We have, but a wealth of very active, strong organizations, and so who could be part of this process. And so, unfortunately, one of my former colleagues, Eric Svensson, who many of you may know, is not here today. But this was really his brainchild, I'd have to say. And we were talking about the need to just try to bring people together, similar to something he referred to as the Stockton Alliance, for those of you who may remember that. And the concept of how can we bring the resources of the people across the state of New Jersey together so that we can plan for our future. And then it turned out that, very unfortunately, we've had a series of dramatic and really devastating events in this state. And during the course of this, whether it was Sandy or Irene or the Halloween storm, we've had Gene and Marjorie and our Alliance team plucking away, trying to figure out how we can plan systematically, not just to respond to Sandy, but actually to think forward about what are we going to do in the state to make sure that our people will be safe and healthy, and that we will make the investments that we need to make so that we can, to the extent we can, prepare and adapt for what we expect is going to be, continuing challenges with climate. Just this past week, we've seen that we've hit another landmark on 400 parts per million on carbon issues. We see the devastating tornadoes in Oklahoma. There really is a lot of challenge ahead of us. So today, what I'm going to challenge all of you to do is you're going to hear some phenomenal people. We're very fortunate to have national experts with us this morning from NOAA, from Georgetown, from, I think, as far as Louisiana, to talk about a range of issues. We're going to hear some very interesting polling results from experts at Rutgers. And then in the afternoon, we're going to hear from some of our own experts, people, many of whom who serve on the Alliance. We're going to talk about health impacts, environmental justice impacts. We're going to break into groups and give you guys a little more opportunity to work more closely on these issues. And what I'd like to challenge you to do is don't just sit back and let this be another conference today, but really try to think what is at least one thing that you can take away from this that you can do with the organizations that you're part of or individually to help us as we move forward, and also encourage you to now become very actively engaged in this alliance. We have an active website, there's materials in your folder, there's much to do, we've made a lot of progress, but we're really just at the beginning. So with that, I would like to also thank the sponsors. We have this great list here of folks, so please take a look at that and visit the tables out there. A few foundations have also supported us, which we appreciate. And then I would like to particularly thank my two honorary co-chairs, Governor Kane, who is unable to be with us today, and Governor Florio, who I'd like to ask to come up and say a few words. Governor Florio really does not need an introduction, except to say that he is one of those leaders who has shown foresight, for when he led this state. And not only did he do it in his public capacity, but he continues to do it in his private capacity. He's been an actively engaged person on the advisory committee and is providing ongoing leadership. Governor.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. This is very impressive. I'm impressed, but I'm not surprised. I want to say to Marjorie and to Jean how much we appreciate the hard work they put into this whole initiative. I think Sandy has changed all of our perceptions about things to come. We're really concerned more and more about rising sea levels. We're concerned about high heat days, changing precipitation patterns. All of those things are going to impact all of us in the public health field, agriculture, water availability, the natural resources, and the economy in general. It's something that we have to focus upon. And prior to this Sandy incident we had, we were all very sensitive to the fact of the problems associated with our aging infrastructure. Bridges, highways, tunnels, all the other things that we've been focusing on, energy systems, telecommunication systems. Those were things that were happening, and now the problem has been compounded by Sandy and its successors, and there will be successors. I'm aware of the fact that there are some who are ideologically troubled by the whole concept of planning. They would prefer fast rather than smart. I think we can't afford to go down that path. So really what we need is a program that put together that will provide for reliability and resilience. Today's event is designed to move us in that path, and I'm confident that it will. So lots of good luck.